Hi everybody, welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Today is February the 3rd, 2011. You know, thinking about Americans, and we've got so much ignorance in this country, and people that are uninformed, but I think there's a lot of people that just don't want to know, and they don't want to think. They want to take the easiest route. We've got a bunch of Americans today that we've heard the term wussified, and it's becoming more and more. They want someone else to do something for them. Self-reliance is in the decline in a lot of places. A lot of people have this idea of this disconnected, ephemeral entity out there that has an unlimited supply of resource and wealth that they want to tap into, namely the government. It has unlimited resources of funding, and they don't connect it that the government is no more than you and I, and it's the American people that provide the funding for the government, and the government's pockets are just as deep as our pockets are. And if we continue to ravage the taxpayer, we will be a third world country, given that, and immigration, illegal immigration coming into the country. If you dilute water with a different color of water, pretty soon the clear water that you had will take on that color, and that's what's happening to our nation right now. We're becoming a third world nation. Specifically, we want to look at the issue today: is health care a right? And I've heard a number of people, they believe this, that are so ignorant of the U.S. Constitution and the principles on which our country was founded. They believe that yes, health care is a right. We're hearing this right now since the declaration of the unconstitutionality of Obamacare, that health care is a right. Hearing it from Harry Reid, people's rights that they have to health care. And we want to take a look at that and show you how blatantly false and ignorant that is according to the Constitution of the United States. Now, what is a right? A right is something that you have that is guaranteed you by the Constitution. We take the right of free speech. That was not so much for the individual, although it is, but it was the right primarily of the press and for people of prominence to make their ideas known. You take somebody like me, who is really a nobody and like a 0.0000001 non-factor, who's going to listen to me? There's just a few people, and so I don't really have that much influence. So it's aimed primarily at the press. This is their responsibility as a watchdog on the government, and to expose graft, corruption, political misdealing, those kind of things. It's a heavy responsibility, which, by the way, our media, by and large, has abdicated their responsibility. But anyway, that's a right, and I don't have to work. I don't have to be a productive member of society to exercise my right to free speech. I don't have to be a productive member of society to exercise my Second Amendment rights. I don't have to be a productive member of society to exercise my right not to incriminate myself and the other rights enumerated in the Constitution. I believe there's only one right that I have that you are going to have to pay for as a citizen. Yes, my friends, there is a right that is going to come out of your pocket, and that is my right to counsel in a court proceeding, say a criminal court proceeding. I have the right to counsel to be appointed for me if I'm indigent, and the taxpayer has to foot the bill. Other than that, those rights I don't have to work for. They're given to me. no expense to the taxpayer. So we look at health care. Is health care a right? Well, let's take the argument that yes, it is a right. Okay, that means that every citizen in the United States has a right guaranteed them by the Constitution to health care. Okay, if I'm exercising my freedom, I'm 40 years old, I live with my parents, I've never been married, I don't have a job, I spend my time down the basement on the internet, which they provide for me, and I have a brain tumor, I have a right to health care, no questions asked. I want to exercise my right. Somebody's got to pay for it. That's you. You're going to pay for it. The taxpayer's going to pay for it. Let's say that I am don't want to work. Another scenario, let's say, I'm suffering from malnutrition and exposure. I have a right to health care. That guarantees me food and a place to stay, go to my local hospital, hang out there for a number of days until I'm not malnutreated anymore and I'm not suffering from exposure. I'm physically rehabilitated and I can go out and start it all over again. And that's my right to health care. If it's my right, then somebody has to provide it for me, because exercising my freedom, I don't have to provide it for myself because it's a right. It's guaranteed me. And that is the fallacy of the right to health care. What is health care? Health care is something that, by whatever means I deem appropriate, I have to provide health care for myself. You know, I'm a retired codger and I don't have any dental insurance. I've got some dental problems and I don't have any coverage for that. And I go to the dentist, tell the dentist to just take care of that one particular tooth, throw a little glop on it. That's what I can afford. Take care of that, throw it on there. It's kind of like some kind of a goo they put on it instead of a filling or a cap on a tooth, because they've got teeth that are crumbling. They've been around for a long time, and that's the best I can do with that. I'm responsible for that. I do have some health coverage from my employer that I retired from, which I have to pay a premium for every month. Fortunately, otherwise I'm in fairly good health and I don't have to use it too much. But you know, my wife has used it, and I've discovered something, and that is that hospital bills are so exorbitant that I have been charged and have paid. I'll give you an example. Ambulance transport of about 5 miles was like $750. That was billed to me. A 4-day stay in the hospital with no surgery or no special treatment, no equipment involved, you know, like digital heart monitoring, anything like that. Was about I believe it was about $12,000, and the hospital billed me the price what it should be normally. The reason why the healthcare costs are so high is we've got all this huge mechanism going on. A doctor sticks his head in the door for about 3 minutes and says, "Hi, how are you doing?" "Oh, that's good, okay," and bills you $150. Then there's so many people that are coming to the hospital for things that they could take care of themselves, and somebody's got to pay for it, and it's the insurance companies that are paying for so many people that don't have any health insurance, and then they bill the individual guy like me that does have health insurance. They bill me what it should normally be. I remember when my wife had our first child, in 1978, and her 3-day maternity stay was, I think, it was about $1,500. A year and a half later, in 1980, our second child was born, and the bill had increased 100%. The exact same thing, 3-day stay, no complications. It was about $3,000 in 18 months. Where you're paying $45 for a box of tissues. I mean, this is, you're paying $8 for a 1-by-1-inch Band-Aid or something of that nature. When I was a kid growing up, you could go in the hospital and have your tonsils out, and the whole thing, probably in today's value of today's money, the whole thing would probably have been maybe $500 or something. There's been a lot of abuse of the system. But anyway, health care is something that is not guaranteed by the Constitution, and not something that everybody else is responsible to pay for, yours and mine, but we're responsible for it ourselves. Now, what would be a good solution, in my opinion, to the health care problem? One thing, if all the people want so much to pay for health care, want the taxpayers to pay for it, want the citizens, they want you and I to pay for health care for that guy that thought school was a big joke and cut class and goofed off and passed with a D, and all of a sudden he comes up, can't get a job, and can't buy his own health care, wants me to pay for it. All kinds of stories like that. Of course, there are a lot of people that are dysfunctional or have suffered misfortune, and there's plenty of people in this country that are willing to help their neighbor out. But anyway, for all the people that are all hyped up on Obamacare and want the government to pay for their health care and want other citizens to pay for it, here's a novel idea. Pass legislation that the government would set something up, set a fund up, which would be entirely voluntary, that Americans that want universal health care could actually contribute to that fund, and the government would administer the fund, and it would be entirely voluntary. That means if your conscience is bothering you, that you should be paying health care premiums for people that you don't know and will never meet, you could just forward your money right along to Washington and let the bureaucrats take care of it for you. And that way they would spend, once they deducted their office costs and their expenses and their salaries and all those kind of things like the government bureaucrats are doing now, and then they could take what's left over and help people that had health care issues and didn't have any health care coverage. Other than that, I would prefer to exercise my freedom of charity and help those that I could. Let me know what you think.